Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with another episode of the Snowflake Corner, episode 23. The date is the 26th of April 2024 at 7 p.m. UK time, where we cover news stories from outside the UK. Hello, everyone in the live chat. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're ready for the weekend. We are dual streaming both here on YouTube and on Twitch.tv. I will say hello to the chat in just a moment, just for a reference. For those in YouTube, there is a live YouTube poll for today. We'll discuss it momentarily, and that is: will the new aid from the US help turn the tide in the war in Ukraine? So there's a couple of different options that you got here today. So one of them is it will only slow them down. The other option is it won't make a difference at all. Another option is Ukraine can now fight back. That basically it's a different I wasn't sure how to interpret it. So what I mean is that they can halt it and they can do counter-offensive now with this aid. That's kind of what it is. The last one is obviously I don't know. So if you're not 100% sure, you could just put that one in. So a couple of different options there. So far 7 people have cast their votes, and it will only slow them down 29%. Ukraine can fight back 29%. I don't know 29%, and 14% currently on it won't make a difference at all. So thank you those who've cast their vote, and we'll end the poll closer to the end of the stream. I may extend it depending on how much we go through. We've got a lot of different articles, stories to go through. I won't be covering Trump today just because it's literally live right now. So I'll catch up on it back on Tuesday. The what's been happening over there, guys. So I won't be covering any of the stories on Trump today, if that's what you were kind of hoping for today. Just one more thing before I go to you guys in the chat. There's a link in the description for a Facebook page I've now set up. So before I did have like another profile I created for myself. But I've gotten rid of that, and instead I've created a page instead. So for those of you who use Facebook, the link for it is in the description, and you can find me at Reganelite. Now on Facebook, I have my own page there, and I will post. I'll post content not just obviously from the YouTube channel, but also my shorts will be posted on there as well as reels on there, so you can check them out as well. There's already a couple already up that aren't even available yet on YouTube, so you can check them out on the Facebook page. Also on the Facebook page, you could also see the thumbnails that the videos that I have on Rumble and Patreon as well, so that they're quite clear for people to go and see as well. That's what I've just got going at the page. So the link for that is in the description if you guys if you have Facebook and you want to follow me on there, hit the like button and all that stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. It's something I've been meaning to do, and I've managed to make time to do that. So thank you to anyone who sees that and follows me on there. Greatly appreciate. So who have we got here today? Sato Hoshi is good here. It's here. Sorry, I got a dry mouth. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Jao is here moderating as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. One Angry Pagan is here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Duke Vengeance is here as well. Genie Bottle is here. Good to see you there. And Sir Larry the Cat. Good to see you all, guys. Hope you're all doing well. I'm going to drink some water because I don't know why my throat is parched, because I haven't. The only recording I've done is a couple of videos. I'm not going to be. I'm not planning to record anything tomorrow. That's for sure. No traveling this weekend, which is nice as well. Right, so we're going to start off. The first one I want to start off here is it's a couple of days old, but I've been waiting. It's quite an old one. Oh no, wait a minute. I thought this was a lot sooner. Okay. Right, that's not good. That's not the date you originally said. Okay, I'm going to have to skip that one. That's not good. That's not a very good start. Okay, so that story that I was planning to cover it's way too old. That is not what I expected on it. I'm probably gonna have to add more articles as we go along, guys. So apologies for that. So instead we're gonna go from this one from Al Jazeera here, guys. This first one. The headline that Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigns, Transitional Council takes power. So Haiti enters a new phase aimed at stemming its spiraling political and security crisis, but the future is uncertain. Alistair Keir, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So as you guys know, we talked about Haiti before. We're obviously aware that they are in a general crisis. We know that the gangs are running are out of control, especially within the capital of Port-au-Prince, and they basically there needs to be some kind of control. Now, whether or not there's, and obviously we'll read the article, and I'm hoping there's an update on whether or not there's been approval by the Kenyan government and Kenyan Parliament to approve allowing 1,000 police, Kenyan police, to go to Haiti and try and gain control of the city, the capital at least, and try and get some control over there. I don't know if that's been approved or not. I've not heard any stories on that yet, but as I've said before, things are a bit chaotic because obviously Ariel Henry was never elected. He just took power, and they wanted him to go, and they want elections. But the problem is the country is so out of control right now. There's no law and order that they can't have elections in the situation that they're in. In order for them to have elections, they need to be able to the country needs to be, the gangs need to be put under control, so that people could be able to freely and fairly have elections. And yeah, it's just not safe for the people of Haiti right now. It's completely not safe for people almost anywhere in that country. I said at the time I disagree with his decision to resign because of the situation that they're in. And it's just kind of like, it feels like to me that he's kind of like just taking off the lenses and saying, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, sort of thing, as opposed to actually dealing with this problem. And I feel like, I feel like he's made a mockery and made some money, and probably there was some corruption involved, and he's now just going to roam off into the sunset now, which is kind of how I feel about all this, if I'm honest. But yeah, the future of Haiti is definitely unknown, that's for sure. So Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry has resigned, paving the way for a transitional council to lead the embattled country. In a letter posted to social media on Thursday, Henry said that his administration had served the nation in difficult times. The letter was dated Wednesday. The Transitional Council was officially installed on Thursday. The outgoing cabinet said that pending the formation of a new government, Economy Minister Michel Patrick Bostwick had been appointed as interim Prime Minister. So this guy could be in charge, could become the next Prime Minister. And what happens then? So an alliance of the country's powerful gangs has been a coordinated attack on the capital city of Port-au-Prince at the end of February. That coincided with Henry's visit to Kenya in support of the United Nations-backed security force that the East African country had agreed to deploy in Haiti. Amid the violence, Ariel agreed to resign last month, but has not returned to Haiti. CBS News have reported that he has been protected by the United States Secret Service while abroad. The 9-member Transitional Council, where 7 members will have voting powers, is expected to help set the agenda of a new cabinet. They will also appoint a provisional electoral commission, which will be required before election panels planned for 2026 can take place. They're also set to establish a National Security Council. While gang leaders have called on Henry to resign, they voiced anger over their exclusion from the transitional negotiations. Well, it might be because you're gang leaders and you've incited a lot of violence and a lot of horrible things. So maybe that might be the reason why you guys aren't included in it. Just saying. It remains unclear how they will respond to the new council. For its part, the international community has urged the council to prioritize Haiti's widespread insecurity. Before the latest attack began, gangs had already controlled 80% of Port-au-Prince. The number of Haitians killed in early 2024 increased by more than 50% compared with the same period last year, according to a recent United Nations report. Meanwhile, about 360,000 Haitians remain internally displaced. The gang violence forced 95,000 people to flee the capital and pushing 5 million into acute hunger, according to the UN. Henry was never directly elected. Instead, he was chosen for the Prime Minister's post by Haitian President Jovenel Moïse shortly before Moïse was assassinated in 2021 and came to power with the backing of the US and other Western countries. But many rights observers have been wary about what comes next in the country that has seen decades of spiral crisis fueled by corrupt leaders, failed state institutions, poverty, gang violence, and international community led by the US, whose interventions in domestic policies are widely unpopular with Haitians. As a result, many Haitians remain wary of any foreign involvement in Haiti today, saying that it will only add to the chaos. Nevertheless, several top human rights advocates have said Haiti's national police are ill-equipped to stem the violence. For its part, Kenya has paused its plans to deploy a security force in Haiti until the transitional government took power, although it remains unclear if that is still the case. Right, so they've kind of sat back because obviously they don't know what's going to happen if this is still going to go through or not. Now, obviously, I've not seen an update on Haiti since this article, so maybe so this is only yesterday, obviously, this one from Al Jazeera, so I've not seen an update on it. I just feel like he's kind of passing the buck and just moving away. I like to think that this council will take some. I don't know what's. I really don't know what's going to happen next with Haiti right now. It's really infuriating, guys. You know, I get this. I get that he obviously wasn't someone that was elected. I understand that, but I generally think he should have stayed at least until elections took place. And instead, he stepped away because he was threatened. And maybe that's a part of it too, as opposed to just the fact that he may be corrupt and taken money for himself and he's running away with it. So it may have just been the case out of fear for his own life, because obviously the last Haitian president was assassinated, obviously. So, which is a bit understandable as well. So, what happens next, I don't know, but it's just absolutely chaotic right now when it comes to Haiti. The next one I got for you guys is from The Guardian. Now it is so we may do some extra. We may have to. I'll probably will do some more stuff on Ukraine, but this one was an exclusive from The Guardian a bit of a while back. But it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one to say the least, because obviously it's regarding what we got in the live YouTube chat poll, obviously, where when it comes to the aid. So, Ukrainian foreign minister says the West must boost defense as the era of peace is now over. The exclusive from The Guardian reveals that a Dynamo Kubila hails the US aid package, but says allies need to increase arm production to help fight Russia. So, I think it's pretty fair to say that some EU countries have looked at ways of boosting from Europe, have definitely tried to help boost Ukraine's aid and arms exports. We know obviously that they've been given drones from the likes of Britain, for example. We know they're still getting weapons and supplies, obviously, of certain things from the likes of Belgium, of France, of Belgium, France, Germany, obviously, just a couple of nations, for example. One of the things that they are desperately needing is more anti-air missile defenses. That's one of the things that they're definitely struggling with right now, because it's allowing them to penetrate a lot more. The airstrikes are definitely hampering Ukraine soldiers, so it is a major issue, to say the least. But at the same time, the argument can be from people is like, we're throwing so much money, towards Ukraine, we're trying to support them. Like, at this point, is it not like, I've actually heard this argument from some people have actually said, is it not just cheaper? Would it not be cheaper if we actually went to war with ourselves rather than throwing all this money and weapons and whatnot at Ukraine? And my first thought was, so you want us to declare war on Russia, basically? And I don't see it as us declaring war on Russia. I would say, some people may interpret it, but the interpretation with people is basically saying, no, we would push Russia out of Ukraine completely, and then we would negotiate peace. But I'm like, yeah, but Putin's not someone he's not gonna accept those conditions. He wouldn't accept those conditions in any way, shape, or form. Good evening, Madman. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah, I know. I'm not too sure about that one anyway. But let's hear what the Foreign Minister had to say here. So he has enthusiastically praised US politicians for approving the long-delayed £61 billion military aid package for Ukraine, but said Western allies need to recognise that the era of peace in Europe is over and that Kiev would inevitably need more help to fight off Russia. Halavikia, he said when asked for his reactions to Tuesday's final vote by the US Senate. He said that it has been my belief that we would have a positive outcome based on the part of the cultivation of religious conservatives, but the West needs to build its defence industry further. which is hence one of the things that's obviously there's been a lot of discussion about the defence, not just here in the UK but in other countries as well. But obviously one of the other counter arguments from a lot of people is just like, well, you're not doing enough for ordinary people. So there's that argument as well. Joe Lefty, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. So that's another problem as well. Speaking to The Guardian ahead of the White House announcing the first tranche of aid, including air defences, artillery rounds, and armored vehicles, QPR said it was just a matter of logistics to get the supplies to the front line. Pentagon officials have indicated that some munitions have already been stockpiled in Europe, with Joe Biden on Wednesday saying that they would arrive within hours. So yeah, they've already arrived. But whether we'll probably have a look at the deep state map later on anyway. Kabula also said Ukraine had identified 7 Patriot air defense systems it could use to protect civilians in major cities outside Kiev. 1 had been obtained from Germany. 4 more have been located and negotiations were taking place, Kabila said, with 2 more were in his sights. Press reports indicate that Greece and Spain are considering whether to supply Patriots, while Poland and Romania also own the batteries. Kabila added an 8th system that could come from the US. I think the US Army has probably got 1 spare, he said. Now, I know there was a story I had where Poland rejected one of them because Donald Tusk had rejected one of them because obviously they wanted to protect their own border from Russia, which is totally understandable from their perspective. Negotiations to obtain these were complicated because of countries who operate these Patriots a bargain for a backfield and compensation, Kabila said. But he added, I mean, no doubt given the progress we are making that Patriots will arrive in Germany must be commended for making the first move. Yeah, if they will slow down, without a shadow of a doubt, if they get these anti-air set up, they will slow down. I do believe they will slow down the offensive. That is one thing for sure. Cities such as Kharkiv, which have been repeatedly bombed this year and seeing residents move away in fear, could live in peace and hand their industrial production continue, he said, as long as Ukraine's allies adopt a more hard-headed approach to help win the country. He said the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had discussed the military aid with Biden on Monday. Kubar said Ukraine's allies should switch from expressing condolences and sympathies for Ukrainians and promising to help with recovery to preventing loss of life and destruction of the country. He said the restoration of US military aid held up for months by Donald Trump's aligned Republicans would not be sufficient to defeat Russia. No single package can stop the Russians. We will not stop the Russians in what will stop the Russians is a united front of all of Ukraine and all of its partners. I don't know about I don't know about that. Obviously, I think we will need to see what happens in the next few months. It will take time to see how if Ukraine can stop the offensive by Russia. But they also have to remember that Russia have increased their troop numbers have increased significantly as well. It's important to remember that as well. That's another major issue as well. Kabila said that the West needed to increase arms production as Ukraine had because it had been outpaced by Russia. Russia is outshelling Ukraine by a ratio of about 10-1, while Ukraine is running short of air defenses. When I see what Russia is achieving in the build-up to its defense industrial base in 2 years of the war and what the West has achieved, I think something is wrong on the part of the West, Kabila had said. The West has to realize the era of peace in Europe is over. Peak military industrial production on the part of Ukraine's allies was not expected until late 2024, the foreign minister had said. Most observers think the war is unlikely to finish soon and will go on into next year. Russia is expected to mount a summer offensive and it is thought to be in the process of mobilizing an extra 100,000 to fight. Kabila praised the Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, for securing Saturday's historic vote on Congress, which approved the aid package had previously looked in doubt. I think Mike Johnson did a good thing for America and for the world, he said. Asked why he thought Johnson had changed his mind after opposing aid for 6 months, Kabila suggested religion may have played a role. The first indication that Johnson could be willing to back the package came in December, Kabila said, an evangelical Christian. Johnson said a video message of support to a prayer breakfast in Kiev convened by Gershkovich, the chair of the Ukraine's president. Johnson ultimately acted out of conviction, Kabila said. It came from his deep beliefs and not from his political expediency. Kabila claimed that Trump had only come under pressure before the vote from Ukraine skeptics in his own party, but in the end stayed silent. He said Kiev was not making any special preparations for a second Trump term. I don't know what's going to happen now, what's going to happen tomorrow, how political elites in the US will behave. What we learned from the first tenure of Donald Trump as president is there will always be a way out of any crisis, he said. We've been so many things since 2014 when the war with Russia began. That, without exaggeration, we are ready for anything. He acknowledged that his personal interaction with Trump's team has been minimal. A quick chat, but noted that Zelensky had invited Trump to visit Kiev. Yeah, I think Trump's not going to be visiting Kiev anytime soon. He's a little bit held up right now. I think we know why. He was dismissive of those who argued that after more than 2 years of full-scale war, it was time for Ukraine to negotiate. He said there was 200 rounds of discussions with the Kremlin between 2014 and 2022 invasion. Some of those supported peace out of naivety, he believed. Others were playing for Putin. A third category did not understand Russia or its president, and they were wrongly convicted it was necessary to negotiate with the devil, he said. The minister said Putin would only engage in meaningful talks when his military position was close to collapse. To get to that point, Ukraine had to pursue a twofold strategy: success on the battlefield and a coalition of countries to back Zelensky's peace formula of the Russian withdrawal, reparations, and a war crimes tribunal. You ain't going to get that from Russia. You're not going to get that from Russia. Kabila said the move announced on Tuesday to terminate consular services for Ukrainian men of fighting age living abroad was about justice at a time when the guys in the trenches are very tired. They don't understand why the government is not trying to bring more people into the war effort, he said. Kabila said it was unclear how many Ukrainian men will come back, but it was unacceptable for those outside the country to sit down in restaurants while others were dying. A part of me understands that. Yeah, I get that last bit. You know, they're kind of like they're not soldiers, and they don't want to fight. Maybe some of them, and yeah, that's tough. I completely understand that point. I really, really do. I guess a question that I would like to put to you guys in the chat is, if the conscription passes, and those who are eligible for conscription but are not in the country, should they be sent back to Ukraine to fight for their country? I guess there's a question. I'm not sure whether that's the right thing to do, but I think that's a question. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do, but we're talking about a country, a nation here, an entire country's nation at stake here as well. In a speech on Monday in Poland, Rishi Sunak promised an additional 500 million in support for the Ukraine army, the largest contribution yet. Kabila said he did not expect this to change if Labour won next year's general election. No, support for Ukraine is not going to change regardless of what party is in power. But I can also understand why, if some Brits are angry about 500 million support for Ukraine's army, but those same people are not complaining about 37 billion pounds missing in test and trace system either. Saying Britain belongs to a very elite group of countries where support for Kiev's translated into the political cycle. He said he had met the Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy, but has yet to talk to the Labour leaders Keir Starmer. Kabila said he did not know how long the war with Russia would last, and on his way to office, a Stalin-era building next to Kiev's gold domed St. Michael's Monastery had passed a funeral procession. Every time I pass by a funeral for a soldier, I double and triple my efforts to bring it to an end. With Ukraine's victory, he said, I think that in the end of this war, only one side will survive, and it will be Ukraine. But when I say survive, I do not mean that Russia will cease to exist as a country. No, because there is no way that we know it's not going to be a case that Ukraine are going to invade Russia the other way around. No, they just want their country back, and then they want peace. They just want peace out of it. I think is the right thing to say, guys, and I think that's just the way it needs to be done. And it's that needs to be the case. That is for sure. Just going to check on the live YouTube chat poll. I'll come to you guys in the live chat in a moment. Will the new aid from the US help turn the tide in the war in Ukraine? 23% said it will only slow them down. 23% said it won't make a difference at all. 31% of you think Ukraine can now fight back, and 23% are not sure. What do you think, guys? Pingu, what do you think? Ollie? No? Damn. Pingu is silent. Ollie... I can't say that about Putin on the live stream. We said a naughty word. I can't say it, but let me just put it this way. Ollie doesn't like Putin. He doesn't like Putin. He likes Russian people, he said, but he doesn't like Putin. So I can't. Pingu's not going to comment on it, guys. So, but the gang is here anyway. So, and the lava lamp has formed, which is very good as well. Very good. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat, because I haven't looked at you guys in the chat for a bit. Seeing a lot of penguin emojis from certain people there. It's very hard to understand who is not corrupt in Haiti. It's easy to try and find someone that does not have to be corrupt and then pay off in order to do something, says Jao. Yeah, it's difficult to read that. Difficult to read it, to be fair. I hope this transitional council will work for Haiti. I do too, One Angry Pagan. I do too, but we just don't know right now. It's very difficult to know for certain. Jao says we are too used to corruption as a singular event here in Europe, but certain places is part of a system to rule, to pay key people. That is why Haiti and other countries are in this situation. Yep, guys talking about Pingu. The comment I heard is that Romania is Portugal in the late 70s. Jao says. Just sitting quietly watching the stream, but all the good mods guys say, says Mad Monk 33. It's all good, buddy, no worries. I've also said before that we should be fully back in Ukraine at this point. This means moving, at least in part, to a war economy. Russia has been fighting an anti-Semitic war against us already, says One Angry Pagan. Yeah, it does seem to be that way. Jao says, remember to drop a like and share, folks. It really helps the channel views, and YouTube loves it. Yes, that kind of stuff really does help the algorithm, guys. So if you could do that, much appreciated. And also, guys, if you have Facebook, do check out the Facebook page as well. Link for that is in the description. I think you have Discord bleep on sound. Thank you for reminding me of that. I don't normally have a Discord open. Thank you for reminding me of that. I have a Romanian neighbour that says they desperately need a total change in government, as the present one is just sympathetic of EU money into their bank account, says Solari the Cat. Interesting. Thanks for that. What's Gene Bottle? Chernobyl disaster, 26th of April 1986. Yeah, no, that was not a very good time, was it? Conscription is not an option. It's down to the people. I don't know if it's down to those who... I don't know if down... Well, I don't think that's an option for those in Ukraine, but those who have fled already... I don't think they can force them if they're not in the country. But obviously the conscription age is obviously reduced to 23. So it's still not that. It's not like really, really young. But, you know, they don't have the numbers. That's the problem. And Russia are going to be throwing even more bodies at them. That's the thing. They've got an unlimited amount of soldiers. They really have. Ukraine don't have unlimited soldiers. So it's going to get to... I do generally think they may have to reduce... I do think they're going to have to reduce the conscription again. And I think they're seriously going to have to consider... And I know it sounds cold, but they're going to have to consider telling Ukrainians out there who can fight, listen, if you really love your country, if you want your country back, you're going to need to come back and fight. Because nobody's going to... Because at the moment, no one's willing to put boots on the ground to protect our nation at the moment. And I do think that's going to be put out there. And the problem is that other nations are not going to allow like Brits, French soldiers. Let's just say hypothetically I wanted to join the war. The government would not allow me to do that. So yeah, I don't want those who don't want to fight to fight. But this is another reason why I think NATO should be more involved. The problem is they're not a member of NATO. That's the thing as well. And you know, it's a tough situation. It's hard to know what the right thing to do. Wars of the dread of mothers, says Jao. Yeah, it's a difficult one for sure, guys. Let's move on, shall we? The next one I've got for you guys, and this one is from France 24. It was a couple of days ago. This guy can't catch a break in Russia, can he? So the Russian court rejects the jailed US journalist Gershkovich's detention appeal. Moscow court on Tuesday denied the US journalist Evan Gershkovich. I can't say his name, guys, I promise. I'm just going to call him Evan's appeal against the extension of his pre-trial detention in the espionage case that he and the American authorities have rejected as false. Yeah, so sadly, the Wall Street journalist Evan, who is in custody on the espionage charges, makes a heart gesture inside the enclosure for defendants. This apparently was on the April the 23rd. No, this picture, I think this picture is a lot older than that. I'm pretty sure we've seen it a lot older than that one. But yeah, they're claiming he's an American spy, and I'm just like, and I think they make that connection simply because I think they make that presumption because just because he works for the Wall Street Journal, and probably because of what they've reported instead about Russia. So it's a real, you know, at the end of the day, it's a real shame for him that he's in the situation he's in. I hope nothing happens to him, and in the end they let him go, but I don't know right now. So Evan, this word, can't say it, 32, a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, has been in Moscow's notorious Lefterov prison for more than a year after he was arrested while on a reporting trip to Russia. He's the first Western journalist ever since the Soviet era to be arrested by Moscow on spying charges. Accusations that he, his employer, and the US government reject. The first Court of Appeal ruled that the order of 26th of March 2024 on the extension of the preventative measures that should be left unchanged. Just Alexandra Pushkin said in Tuesday's hearing, an AFP journalist reported from the court. The hearing was a technical appeal against an early decision to keep Evan in detention until at least June the 30th, pending a trial. It did not disclose the merits of the case. Why can't you tell us the merits of the case then? The reporter, who used to work for the AFP and the Moscow Times in the Russian capital, stood in a glass dock in the courtroom wearing dark trousers, a white shirt and a dark t-shirt. He smiled and gave a thumbs up when reporters asked him how he was doing. Moscow could not provide any public details of the case against Evans, saying that he was only caught red-handed in the ultra city of Yekaterinburg last March. So you can't even tell us why. He was caught red-handed. Caught red-handed doing what? Why can't you tell us? Can't tell us. Russia said there's been discussions behind the scenes on a possible prisoner exchange involving Evans. The President Vladimir Putin has publicly implied Moscow would like to see the release of a man Germany says was working for the Russian state when he was killed, a Chernobyl rebel commander, as part of a deal to free him. Washington has repeatedly accused Moscow of arresting US citizens in a bid to use them as pawns to secure the release of Russian jails abroad for serious crimes. Well, we don't. Yeah, I mean, he is being used as a bargaining chip. That's exactly the case here. He's being used as a bargaining chip. Evans here is. But yeah, it's a real shame. Like a whole year now, he's been in there. And you know, any association. If you have any association with the US, you should not be in Russia at all. And I don't think there anybody is. It's too dangerous. It's just too dangerous to be in there. You know, you're going to be accused of something out of, you know, and I don't know when or if they're going to get him out because of what they want. Obviously, they want certain people from the Western side, which the West are not willing to give. So at the moment, he's kind of just sitting in limbo, and that's kind of it. That's all I've got really on Evans so far, and it's a real shame as well because he's just stuck in that situation. To be fair. Daily Blase, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So, guys, I'm going to take a little break before we go to the next article. Just to remind you guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button. Greatly appreciate. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe because it really does help support the channel. It doesn't just support me, but it supports Ollie and Pingu too. So this funny video I've got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's from Foil and Arms. And it's the headline, Gen Z, when the internet is down. I hope you guys enjoy this one.
this place is beautiful.
So remote.
No service on the phone.
No, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I guess we can just like completely shut off here.
Totally, yeah. The Wi-Fi password should be on the fridge.
Got it, the password's cottage23.
Nice one.
Paul,
Yeah?
we got a problem.
What? The password not working?
No, the password's fine, it's just... there's no internet.
No,
He's right, I've got nothing either.
no, me neither.
Maybe a fuse is gone. I can check the box.
You know how to do that.
Oh, it's fine, I can just Google it. Oh no. Oh no.
Rental company said the Wi-Fi is included.
I'll email them.
I'm hungry.
I'll order a Deliveroo.
Alright, let's just get out of here. I'll order a taxi.
I need to go for a dump.
Alright, that's it. I'm gonna hike back to the village.
It's 50 kilometers.
I don't care.
Do you know where you're going?
It's fine. I'll just put it into Google Maps. No! We're trapped.
We're gonna die here. Of boredom.
Maybe we could play a game of chess or do a crossword.
Good idea.
Oh no, the app needs internet.
Damn. We can't even listen to music.
Maybe they've got a vinyl player.
All they have is this.
What is it?
I think it existed before vinyls.
I haven't a clue how to work that oven, and we don't have YouTube.
We need to start a fire.
How do we do that?
What about that survival guy on TikTok?
Oh yes, he's loads of videos on starting fires. I've seen them all.
Amazing.
Okay, how do you light the fire?
I don't remember.
What?
I didn't think I had to remember. I just saved them on the phone. That's how I remembered. The phone remembers. Hey, look at this.
What is it?
I've seen the movie before. I think it's a phone.
But there's no network.
It works through this.
The charger?
Can you call the rental company?
Oh, I don't have the number and we can't look it up.
What about this?
What's that?
Well, I don't know, but if we burn it, we might be able to send up a smoke signal for help.
That's a great idea.
Easy.
What's wrong?
He's having withdrawals. It's been 2 hours since his last newsfeed refreshed.
Anything could have happened. There could have been an apocalypse. Everybody could be dead. Another celebrity could have been cancelled. Hello? I heard screaming. Is everyone all right?
Oh, thank God, we're saved.
A boomer!
Is somebody injured?
There's been a terrible accident.
What happened?
The internet is down.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do we do, boomer?
well, if you have a landline, you can have internet.
What?
It's not quite what you're used to.
Anything, please.
Internet? Internet.
Okay. Oh,
What the?
what is this?
I mean, this isn't even.
so slow.
Are you sure it's on?
What am I on an
Oh my
aeroplane?
god.
faster.
WTF.
TikTok.
Oh, that's. Oh God! You know what I do? Like, here's the thing. Like, yeah, you know, we actually had a discussion a while ago about like social media and whatnot. It just goes to show, guys, you can't live your life in a box all the time. You know, you really can't. Thank God I have a book and other things that I do offline. You know, because I probably would go crazy if the internet went down. But yeah, we do rely too much on the internet. So yeah, we do rely on it too much. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to monetize this live stream just because of the sound anyway. But I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That is for sure. Did you enjoy it? Pingu said he really liked it. He said he wants me to play it again. I said no, so Pingu's not happy with me. Did you enjoy it, Ollie? Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it too. Cool. Good stuff. Right, let's carry on, guys. Or should I just have a quick look and see what you guys are saying in the chat? Help us, boomers. Yep. Oh, I missed that sound. Oh, what sound did you miss? I hope you didn't miss too much. Casper, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well as well. Russia is paying about 2,000 euros a month for a soldier. A lot of money there. The issue is once they get in, they will extend your commission for as many times as they need. Yeah, once you're in the army, you get out. Russia doesn't have an unlimited supply of people. If you watch certain Russian YouTubers, they will know there is no real appetite for the war, just more believing in Putin's message. Yeah, there's mixed information out there. I mean, I have seen from some where they're pulling soldiers from other places, not just from Russia, but from other nations as well, so that they've subjugated as well. So it's not just Russians. You're right. There are a lot of segregation in Russia, burning English centres. There's a lot of people doing drafting and growing civil unrest. Well, there's growing civil unrest, but they can't do anything about it because if they try and do anything, they're going to get shot. Like, you don't hear any protests, and they don't do any protests because they know if they protest, they're just going to get arrested and taken away. It's really clamped down on everything. The sound of connecting to the slowest internet connection. Yeah, that sound. Yeah, that takes you back to the days, wasn't it? Back to your old days, that's for sure. So that was very good. They added that sound in. To be fair, they did. So guys, we're going to be going to a not a very. Let me just make sure I got that on the right. Why is that not on the right setting? Oh no, that is the right one. To what is not a very nice story. Sudan again, guys. It's, it's every time there's a story, I feel obliged to talk about what's happening there. So this one is the latest one from Sudan. El-Fasher faces a massacre as the final fight for Darfur looms. The rapid support forces have had the state capital of North Darfur under siege, leaving 1 million civilians with no way out. So obviously there's been massive fighting in the capital. We know that the rapid support forces are gaining ground in it, and people are already in the crossfires, and lots of suffering is taking place. And it doesn't appear to be any end in sight at the moment, guys. So Sudanese and international experts are warning of a massacre that could generate Hiroshima and Nagasaki level casualties in the Darfur city of El-Fasher, which is surrounded by the paramilitary rapid support forces. The estimated 1 million civilians inside the state capital of North Darfur now have no clear escape routes, meaning the city could become a kill box in the event of attack. The Sudanese armed forces, which have been at war with the RSF since the 15th of April last year, remain in control of El-Fasher, the only city in western Sudan's sprawling Darfur region, in its hands. But with the RSF controlling all roads leading in and out of El-Fasher, the army has to equip its new recruits using airdrops with a final battle for Darfur imminent. Army units are expected to fight to the death. Observers said RSF is moving heavy weaponry into the area. Sources in El-Fasher said the paramilitary forces was looting goods being brought into the city. SAF troops movement suggests that RSF already has combatants in the eastern part of the city. In the last fortnight, the RSF has burned at least 11 villages in the neighbouring North Darfur countryside to the ground. Villagers have been forced to flee the cities, meaning the entire population is now there. The situation is exacerbated by the presence of the region's largest camp of internal displacement people, the IDPs. Zamzam, just located 12 kilometers of outside the city. The route between the RSF fighters and the city led through the camp, which is home to hundreds of thousands of people, many of whom are from the non-Arab groups the RSF have been targeting throughout the war. Yeah, and I have to remind people that the RSF have consistently been accused of committing acts of genocide, sexual rape, and pillaging, looting, and whatnot has been taking place. As it's just said, they're burning villages. They've already burnt another 11 villages. And if they get control of this city, which is what it looks like it's going to be, there's going to be an absolute slaughter. And no, I'm not just talking about the fighters. I'm talking about all the innocent people that fled those villages from suffering at the hands of the RSF, and they're going to suffer at the hands of the RSF unless someone does something. And at the moment, it feels like it's just no one's paying attention. It feels like no one's batting an eyelid across the world with what's about to happen here. Last week, the Royal Warburg Centre found that there was clear and convincing evidence that the Rapid Support Forces committed genocide against non-Arab groups in Darfur. The Black Muslim group had been particularly targeted. Sources on the ground told Media tonight that Zamzam is protected by the forces of Mini Manuel, a former rebel leader and governor of Darfur who's now fighting alongside the army. Of the estimated 1 million people in El-Fasher, an estimated 700,000 are IDPs. Over 8 million Sudanese have been displaced by the war. Previously a vibrant centre for activists, human rights defenders and others, El-Fasher has the only hospital that has been treating survivors of sexual violence that has taken place since the war began. Tadine, a resident of the Al-Shuk IDD camp in El-Fasher, told an emergency online media briefing attended by Middle East tonight that he knew of 38 separate vehicles that had been stopped and ransacked by the RSF. He said that the price of fuel in El-Fasher has more than doubled, and this was set to have a catastrophic impact on the availability of drinking water in the city. About 95% of El-Fasher's portable water is dependent on generations that run on fuel. The RSF is threatening civilians with death, hunger and thirst, said Ataldin, who could not give his second name for security reasons. Medical personnel have fled the city, leaving patients without anyone to treat them. Many have died already as a result. Then Ariel Raymond, Executive Director of Yale Humanitarian Research Lab, which has been closely monitoring the conflict, outlined 3 main circumstances that will result in mass civilian death in El-Fasher. He said civilians could die from the deprivation of humanitarian aid, including food, water and medicine. They could die in a crossfire. They could be directly targeted by the RSF. We have a city about to be under siege, Raymond told the briefing. The situation for those in El-Fasher will likely get significantly worse in the coming hours or days. Civilians don't have a clear escape. Well, we call this a kill box. I was just checking something on the live chat there. I thought something happened there. No, it's fine. Raymond said he believed that the risk of mass atrocities and targeted ethnic killings was inevitable, and that the situation was going to get significantly worse in the next few days and weeks. I want to be clear here, 9/11 was 3,000 people. There's been 40,000 civilian casualties in Gaza. This situation could potentially generate Hiroshima and Nagasaki level casualties, Raymond said. The US atomic bomb detonated above the Japanese city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, killed an estimated 215,000 people. On Wednesday, the United States called for an immediate cessation of the attacks in El-Fasher. It condemned both the RSF and the Army's indiscriminate aerial bombardments in the region. Halil Al-Khari, the Regional Director of Strategic Initiative for Women in the Horns of Africa, that's the SIHA, drew a comparison of unfolding events in El-Fasher and those of El Janiga, the state west of the state's capital of West Darfur, where the RSF and allied Arab militia massacred the local militant population, leaving the streets of city strewn with corpses. Artibus, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. It's so unfortunate that we're going to go through the same situation similar to what happened in El Jania. We cannot do anything other than wait and anticipate what will happen, she said, describing the situation as a massacre in the making. Caleb also emphasised the support that the RSF receives from the United Arab Emirates, its main patron. She said she believes the paramilitary force was closing the consultancy with the Emirates. The RSF had previously told Middle East Tonight that it does not receive support from the UAE, despite extensive evidence of supply routes between the two. As of 30, UAE appeared to be continuing to resupply the RSF via cargo planes landing in Chad. This is as much. It's also important to understand that this is just as much a religious war than just the history of these two armies. This is a lot. There's a lot of religion. There's religion involved in this, in what's occurring here as well, because of religious beliefs that are playing a factor in this conflict as well. And yeah, more. There's going to be so many more lives that are going to be lost, and it's inevitable. Just the United States literally calling for calm is not going to solve this situation. If they generally wanted, if the United States and the Western world wanted this, what's going to happen, what's likely about to happen. If they wanted to generally stop this, they could have stopped this. They could have done more to try and negotiate something. But here we are, guys. More than a year on, this conflict is still going on. Still, many people living in Sudan have fled and their lives destroyed, homes, villages burnt. Some have been tortured, raped, amongst and even worse. You know, as it said in there, literally corpses on the floor, not being picked up because yeah, it's just it's an absolutely disgusting situation, guys. And my heart really does bleed for the people of Sudan, because they've been through so much, guys. They've been through so much shit for a long time, and they just want some damn peace, and they can't get it. And I just think back to how close they was to actually having a government, and and now the situation they're in, and the world is turning a blind eye. Yes, I know things at what's happening in the Middle East, and I know obviously things here in Europe, but I just feel like, you know, the world could have done something to prevent what's inevitably going to happen here, guys. I really think the world could have done, and we're choosing not to, and it really does break my heart hearing talking about this, because you know, it's really horrible, to say the least, guys. I'll come to you guys' comments in a moment, but just want to say, for those who have just popped in, there's a live YouTube chat poll if you guys want to cast your vote. Will the new aid from the US help turn the tide in the war in Ukraine? So some of the options is it will only slow them down, it won't make a difference at all, or Ukraine can fight back now. The last option is obviously, if you're not sure, you just put I don't know. So 18 votes have cast their vote so far. So 28% said it will only slow them down. 17% say it won't make a difference. 33% of you think Ukraine can now fight back, and 22% are not sure. So thank you everyone who's cast their votes on that so far. Jow's just provided some links in the description. Thank you for that. Just a reminder, guys, if you have Facebook, please consider joining the Facebook page as well. Jow has provided a link in the chat if you haven't already. We greatly appreciate you following me on there. We greatly appreciate. Just see what you guys are saying in the chat. Not just us, the African Union should take some of that blame. Yeah, the African Union should take some ownership responsibility as well. But I also think it's not. I tried Facebook earlier; wouldn't allow the friendship. It's not one you can add as a friend. It's a page. It's not a friend one. It's a page one. Jim, but good to see you, buddy. By the way, hope you're doing well. Much more of the stream description. Just see what else is saying. I hear that Trump is replying to social media. Oh, we'll look at Trump at another time. But yeah, I'm sure he's ranting about something. It's time to duel. I mean, play Minecraft as Duke Vengeance. I don't blame you for that story. I hate to propose this, but couldn't the combined forces of the African Union end this? Says one angry pagan. Potentially. Akismag, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Sudan is delivered to the wolves. No one will do anything. They are the sidelines waiting for the end, says Jow. I will say this, back in 1999, Yahoo message dial-up, and I used to talk to Indie Chuck Dave on video chat. It wasn't that bad. We even watched football matches live using it. I missed that, says the Mad Monk. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to hear. Yeah, it's yeah, those were the good old days, as they say. Stephen Banker, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Let's we are going to be sticking with in Africa for a bit more, guys. This is an interesting one here. So it's actually a very special occasion coming up for South Africa, believe it or not. In fact, I believe it's tomorrow that this occasion is going to be happening. From Associated Press, South Africa will mark 30 years of freedom amid equality, poverty, and intense election ahead, guys. So 30 years on has passed since its freedom. What has happened since then in South Africa, you guys? Let's read a bit into this, guys. So, as a 17-year-old Nora Koskitz walks through the corridors of a Fringsby primary school in Salawa, South Africa, she recalls the joy she and many others felt 30 years ago when they voted for the first time. It was at this school on April the 27th, 1994, that Kulik joined millions of South Africans to brave long queues to take part in the country's first democratic elections after decades of white minority rule which denied black people the right to vote. The country is gearing up for celebrations Saturday to mark 30 years of freedom and democracy. But much of the enthusiasm and optimism of that period has subsided as Africa's most deprived economy faces a mirage of challenges. 30 years ago. Like many things in South Africa, the school that Colin remembers has changed, and what used to be a school hall is now turned into several classrooms. I wish somehow we could go back to that day because of how excited I was and the things that were happening thereafter, said Kung, referring to Nelson Mandela becoming the country's first black president and introduction of a new consultation that afforded all South Africans equal rights, abolishing the racial discriminating system of apartheid. For many who experienced apartheid, those years remain etched in their collective memory. I cannot forget how we suffered at the hands of whites. In the city at night, they were white bikers with hairs like this, describing a mohawk-like hairstyle, who would brutally assault a black person if they saw them walking on the pavement. Those white boys were cruel, said 87-year-old Lily McAnear, whose late husband died while working in the anti-apartheid movement's underground structures. If they saw you walking on the pavement, you would be assaulted so badly and left for dead. For Margarita and many others who stood in those queues to vote in 1994, it represented a turning point from a brutal past to the promise of a prosperous future. But 30 years later, much of that optimism has evaporated amid the country's pressing challenges. They include widening inequality, as the country's black majority continues to live in poverty with an unemployment rate of more than 32%, the highest in the world. According to official statistics, more than 16 million South Africans rely on monthly welfare grants for survival. Public demonstrations have become common as communities protest against the ruling African National Congress failure to deliver job opportunities and basic service like water and electricity. An electricity crisis that has resulted in power blackouts that are devastating the country's economy, adding to the party's woes as business and homes are sometimes forced to go without electricity for up to 12 hours a day. Areas that are affluent Johannesburg's suburbs of Sandton, which hosts beautiful skyscrapers and luxury homes, are an example of economic success enjoyed by the minority of the country's 60 million people. But the townships of Alexandria, which lies a few miles from Sandton, is a stark reflection of the living conditions of the country's poor black majority, where sewage from burst pipes flows onto the streets and uncollected rubbish piles up on the pavements. Such contradictions are common across the major cities, including the capital Pretoria, around the city of Cape Town, as they remain at the centre of what is expected to be one of the country's most fiercely contested elections in May. So, just before I carry on, I remember, I don't know how many of you do you guys remember when South Africa hosted the Olympics? I know, it's the World Cup, sorry. The World Cup. Do you guys remember when they hosted the World Cup? It felt like such a long time ago. And I remember they talked about how much it was going to be such an economic boom. It was the first time that that the World Cup was being hosted on the continent, not just in South Africa, but it was a major milestone. And you would have thought that what the money that they would make off it and the rallying of all sorts of people, that perhaps maybe it would have been the start of something that would help make a difference and helping bring about the change maybe that they would need in terms of the poverty. Because I remember that there was still lots of poverty and they were trying to cover it up there. I remember they were trying to cover it up then. Was that the one with the Venezuelans? Yes, the Venezuelans. Which you didn't hear any noise because it was all Venezuelans until a goal went in the back of the net. But yeah, just I remember them trying to covering it up, and I was just thinking, will they learn from this? Will they pick up from this? What will be the next thing for them? And nothing's changed. And it's really sad that they still have those same poverty issues. They still have them today. And I'm thinking, where's all that money gone? Is it's just gone for the small percentage of people with the wealth and power? Has it just stayed in the capital? What's happened? Why is there not more inequality being dealt with? I don't know South African politics, so I can't because I'm thinking from the outside, like what has happened since that World Cup. What have they done since then? It's been many, many years since then, and there's a lot of questions that I feel that needs answering, because it was supposed to bring about change for the better for all of South Africans, but it feels like it hasn't. So for the first time since the ANC came to power in 1994, polls are indicating that the party might receive less than 50% of the national vote, which will see it lose power unless it manages to form a coalition with some smaller parties. For some younger voters like Donald Mascarisky, the nostalgia does not resonate. Mascarisky will be voting for the first time in the May 29 elections and is now actively involved in campaigning for a new political party, Rise Masaki, which will be contesting a national election for the first time. I've had the opportunity to vote in 2019 and in local elections in 2021, but I did not because I was persuaded enough by any of these old parties why I should vote, he said. I didn't see the need to vote because of what would happen over the past 30 years. We talk about freedom, we talk about free from crime, but are we free from poverty? What freedom is this and what are we talking about? Political analyst Pearl Nobi said South Africans are justified in feeling failed by their leaders. More and more South Africans are growing sceptical of pronouncements from governments due to its history of continuously announcing grand plans without prioritising the swift execution of said plans, Muksid said. She said, while Freedom Day is meant to signify the country's transition from an oppressive past, it's important to highlight the current problems and plans to overcome them. We cannot use the past and any nostalgia attached to it to avoid accounting for the present, she said. Yeah, what happened 30 years ago, yes, it was a great time, but what are you doing now? What's being done now for the benefit of the people of South Africa? And I would say, obviously, if the current government, if it's been the same party for a long time, and things are not, and you don't feel that your lives are changing, if you don't feel that it's not going the way that you want it to, then it's time to change. It's time to vote different. And I think that's just simply it. No worries, Akisbad. Thanks for popping by. If that is the case, that is democracy. You don't just, the premise of you don't just vote for a political party just because of your loyalty. In my opinion, you should base it on, what has it done for you, and if you feel that it's still in your interest to vote for that party, then you vote for it. However, if you feel that the party's not done enough for you, maybe it's perhaps time to vote somewhere else. And that's what might be happening with these elections in South Africa. It will be very interesting to see a different political party having control in South Africa than this one. That is for sure. But obviously, like many other countries, guys, I don't have very much knowledge when it comes to South African politics. But I wanted to share that one because I thought it was a fascinating one, to say the least. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me see. South Africa's plight is awful. I have a few friends that grew up near Durban in the 90s, says Joe Lefty. Yeah, the poverty has not... They have not addressed the poverty. They haven't addressed it. They need to tackle that. They need to have a clear plan and stick to that plan, but clearly that's not been happening. World Sports Adventure Watch lies by wealthy folks, some other folks who are often more wealthy, while the poor guy gets moved away, so the wealthy do not see you or serve wealthy, says Genie Bottle. Yeah, I think that's what has also happened at the Olympics in Brazil. They shoved and pushed and hid away all the poor people in Sao Paulo and other places in Brazil as well. I think they did that as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think they did the same thing there, rather than actually, and again, another country where they had the Olympics. What's happened since then? Why have they still got poverty? Again, obviously it's a bit different because obviously they have, the country has more, a bit of, I would say, more corruption than anything else. But it's just trying to make a bit of a comparison of, like when they have these sporting events and they just kind of be quiet about it all, about their issues. I'm going to end the live YouTube chat poll now for you guys. Just thank you everyone who casted their votes in the poll, asking will the new aid from the US help turn the tide of war in Ukraine? 33% of you say Ukraine can fight back. 27% usually say we'll only just slow Russia down. 22% of you are not sure, and 16% don't think it'll make a difference at all. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how things go. What do you guys think on the poll? Pingu doesn't know, and Ollie says Ollie thinks it will just slow it down. Me personally, I think it will slow them down. I don't think it will. I just think it will slow them down, or it will cause the lines to stand still, hopefully for a good while. I'm hoping it pauses the attack. I hope it just keeps the borders kind of stuck where they are and not too much movement. That's what I'm kind of thinking with regards to that poll, if I'm honest. But But just got one more article for you guys actually before I wrap things up. But before you do, if you haven't already, please consider becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, guys. Any financial support makes a massive difference to myself, to Pingu and Ollie, the work that we do here. You can be as little as 99p. We also have a $2.99 membership where you get early access to content as well. So thank you to everyone who is a YouTube member. It really does make a massive difference here on the channel. Super chats are welcome, but obviously memberships or gifted memberships make a massive difference. I also want to say today is also a grand day as well, guys. Today we reached 100 YouTube members, which is an amazing achievement. So I wanted to just say here a massive thank you to Alistair Keir, to Solari the Cat, to Number 3, to Phil McCracken, and anybody, and I hope I haven't missed any of the other members, but yes, you guys in particular are the ones who have gifted a lot of memberships here. So I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys who have gifted so many memberships. Alistair Keir, you've been extremely generous in that, so I want to say thank you for that. It really does mean the world to me. And for all those who've continued their membership, thank you. I don't expect to hold 100 memberships after today. It'll probably drop down. But for everyone who has continued on, it really does make a massive, massive difference, guys. I still am not, just for the reference, guys, while just in terms of like financial position, guys, I'm still in the negative. So, but it does really make a difference in terms of bills and whatnot, guys. I want to make that very clear. So, but the work does not stop in any way, shape, or form, guys. There's still going to be content here. There's still going to be content, exclusive content on Patreon and Rumble. You can check out those links in the description as well. So, again, just want to say massive thank you, everyone who's done that. It really is a big, means an absolute world to me. So, the last one I've got for you guys is an interesting one. Originally, I was going to do this as a video, but the more I read into it, the more I thought, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So it is related to the UK, but it's not actually directly the UK. So this one from the Telegraph is the headline. Now, obviously, take this with a pinch of salt because it is from the Telegraph. The headline is, asylum seekers are pouring into Ireland from the UK, says a minister. So more than 80 PCs of migrants and refugees from the Republic have entered the country via the land border amidst rising tension over immigration. So they're saying there's an influx of migrants coming from the UK into Ireland. Now, maybe some of you guys may know better than me. So if you do, please express, let me know in the comments section. No worries, Jim. Thanks for popping by. I appreciate it. If anyone needs to move, head out, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. I greatly appreciate it. You can always watch back later. I appreciate it. But this really fascinating. This really caught my attention, this article. While I also am taking it with a bit of a pinch of salt because it is from the Telegraph. But the fact that a minister is actually saying this really does raise some eyebrows here about the issues around migration, both here and in Ireland as well. So let's read into this. So more than 80% of asylum seekers in Ireland cross into the country from the UK, an Irish government minister has said. So tensions over immigration have risen in Ireland amid an increase in migrants' arrival from an acute housing crisis that has forced some asylum seekers to sleep in tents. So migrants and refugees were crossing the border with Northern Ireland. Helen McEady, sorry if I mispronounced it, apologies. The Justice Minister told an Irish Parliament Scrutiny Committee. This is a challenge that we have advocated for an open border on the island, she said. It was absolutely a challenge. I would say it is higher than 80%. Well, where are you? The other thing I got to say, like, what exactly is giving this number, for example? I'm kind of curious to know where this number is from as well. The minister added she gave evidence on Ireland's decision to opt into the new EU asylum system rule that aimed to speed up migrant returns. So the UK and Ireland share a common travel area which predicates both countries' membership of the EU. Infrastructure on the border between the Republic and Northern Ireland has gradually been dismantled since the Good Friday Agreement more than 25 years ago. So during the Brexit negotiations, Dublin insisted that the border on the island of Ireland be kept invisible, without infrastructure such as checkpoints. He argued that it would protect the peace process and safeguard Ireland's place in the EU single market. Brexiteers accused Dublin of weaponising the border. Well, those Brexiteers can shut up. We don't want to hear from them. The UK and EU eventually agreed to create an Irish sea border for British goods and animals entering Northern Ireland to prevent a harsh Irish border. The UK region agreed to follow hundreds of EU rules as part of the agreement, which enraged some unionists. The Irish Times reported a Department of Justice source as saying it was difficult to be exact about the numbers crossing into Ireland from Northern Ireland. The source said more than 80% of asylums claims were made at an international protection office in Dublin, without an application being first made at the port or an airport. The Irish government believes that almost all those people have arrived from the UK. A significant number are thought to be Nigerians, and there has been a spike in asylum claims from Nigeria. There is a returned agreement with the UK which would allow Ireland to return migrants with refugee status in Britain. Last month, Ireland's High Court ruled that a decision by the Irish government to list the UK as a safe country to return asylum seekers to was unlawful. A judge found Miss Mealy had exceeded her powers in designating the UK as a safe country after Brexit took legal effect. She's now bringing forward legislation to remedy the deadlock, which comes amid controversy over the UK's Rwanda plan. I'm not sure how to process this, guys. I'm not sure how to process this. This is crazy. So, I'm trying to get my head around this, guys. So, what they're claiming here is people are fleeing the UK to Ireland, from what my understanding is. I think that's the premise here. And then some of them are getting sent back to the UK because they're not supposed to be in Ireland. I think. It feels very grey, this story. I feel like I don't have the full picture here. I think the Telegraph are kind of playing a bit of mind games here. I feel like I'm not getting the full picture on this story. In 2022, the Irish government blamed the Rwanda plan for the surge of numbers of migrants arriving in Ireland. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Obviously, the Rwanda plan. RTE did a better article on this. I have not seen that. I've not seen that, Casper. The Irish government blamed the Rwanda plan for the surge in numbers. Now that makes total sense. Now, obviously, when the Rwanda plan come up, we've already heard from people within the UK, obviously, concerned about their well-beings and whatnot being in the UK, knowing that they could be on these planes going back to Rwanda. So it sounds like one of the options has been to flee to Ireland instead, and by doing that, just going over to Northern Ireland. Obviously, I'm not quite sure how they go from crossover without, because they got to cross over on a ferry or boat or ferry boat or flying. So how exactly do they do that? I'm curious to know. It's an interesting one. So in October last year, Leo Varadkar, who was Prime Minister at the time, warned that Ireland had reached the limit of support it could offer to refugees. So Dublin has moved to tighten its rules after Mr. Varadkar claimed Ireland made a better offer to migrants than countries such as the UK. There were anti-immigration riots in Dublin in November, and asylum seeking centres have been targeted with arson attacks in Ireland. A country of about 5 million people were welcomed in more than 100,000 Ukrainian refugees after Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion. Data released last year showed that there were 13,651 non-Ukrainian applications for international protection in Ireland in 2022. That's a 186% increase from 2019, which was last compatible the year before the pandemic. Yeah, because you have to take that into account. Yeah, it's an interesting one to say the least, guys. Yeah, this was really cool. This really kind of caught my eye, this one. But obviously someone just said, yeah, the RTE obviously had a better article, but I've missed that one, guys. But it's definitely a concern for sure. Now, obviously, yeah, I am fully aware, obviously, about the housing crisis that's taking place in. I know there's a massive housing crisis taking place in Ireland, and I know they've had that for a long time. There doesn't seem to be right now a clear path to that. So obviously, they're resulting to putting some of them in tents because of the situation that they're in. It is I need to read a bit more up on it to get my head around it, because I feel like I'm being convoluted in what the Telegraph is saying there. But yeah, it's in it. I'd say it's an interesting story to say the least. Yeah, on that. But let's have a quick look what you guys are saying before we go to the funny memes. Ferry to land from Scotland, bus, train, or taxi to RRH. Yeah, but if they're asylum seekers here on mainland in the UK, they can't exactly just get on it without paying to cross over or something, can they? I mean, unless someone bribes them or something. I don't know. And the status of the UK as a safe country has also been discussed around here in terms of bilateral deals. Portugal has to the UK that some want to review it. Well, considering this, I think, given that a general election is coming, I think, yeah, they're gonna I think what most countries are probably gonna do is probably gonna try and hold off until at least the general election. Everyone knows that the Conservatives are going, but I'm pretty sure most nations will be saying to Labour, like, hey, you guys need to reverse this as soon as they come in. And Labour have already kind of said they're going to reverse this anyway. Better wait to see what the EU Commission will decide. They were discussing it with Ireland, says Jow. That sounds like a much more better thing than taking it from Ireland's perspective, rather than see what the EU say on it. I'm looking into claiming asylum in the EU due to anti-trans stuff going on here. I'm afraid Labour will continue the oppression, says Joe Lefty. I hope not. They want to force the EU to deal with their crapolia, but what will happen in the UK will see those immigrants be reprimanded or even returned to the UK, says Jow. Given how the Tories have broken half our asylum system and how many would go missing once they arrive, this really does not surprise you, says one angry pagan. Thanks, Casper. I'll have a look at it. I'll have a look at it in a bit. I'm not even angry anymore. It's just taken for granted that no government is on our side, says Joe Lefty. Ben Ridgens, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, and Mad Monk says, any time the Tories have been in power in the UK, it's never been a safe country. Yeah, it's never been in the best interest of us there, that's for sure, guys. So, guys, I've just got one more thing to do before we wrap things up. I was going to cover a bit of Ukraine, but given the time, I think, yeah, we'll just cast off with the funny memes, and I know it's a bit early, but obviously, if you guys want to head into Max's live stream after this, we're more than welcome to do so. But you should go about just under 15 minutes anyway, so to be fair, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy the funny memes. I know some people like them, some people don't like them. But this one, I'm actually going to use a swear word, so I'm sure you guys are going to like this. The one I've got at the end is really funny. So, so here we go, the funny memes. They're talking about, come outside. We ain't gonna jump you. Me, I'm gonna be productive today. 30 minutes later. When you're upset, just imagine a T-Rex making a bed. Please raise your hand if your name is Michael. I'm Michael. That concludes our mic check. There's nothing worse than a rude customer who thinks that they know how to do your job. And the last one. Believe what you see, not what you're told, says Elon Musk. Okay, I've been told you're a genius, but I've only ever seen you behave like a fucking moron. Oh, that last one killed me. I was contemplating not sharing that one, but I just had to do that. Oh, that last one killed me. Oh, that last one killed me. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't normally use the F-bomb, but yeah, just a one-off, guys. Just a one-off for you guys. Did you guys enjoy those funny memes? What do you mean you didn't enjoy it, Ollie? Ollie's being grumpy today, guys. Pingu liked me using the F word. Pingu said I should use the F word, Merc. No! They're gonna have to bribe me to use the F word. No, actually, you can't bribe me to use the F word. To be fair, guys, no, I'll lose monetized. I'll lose out on the YouTube algorithm if I swear more. So no, you can't bribe me to do that. To be fair, guys. But just before we wrap things up, obviously the thank you. I will be getting a custom emoji sorted at some point for Pingu, guys. Don't worry, it will be coming. I just need to sort it. I just need to get one sorted. I will get one sorted for you guys. But they're all here. The gang is here. We'll be back on Monday. However, there will be some complications about my schedule the following week because I have some plans coming up. I will let you guys know a bit closer to the time. Next week will be scheduled to be normal, but I'll remind you guys on Monday's community post anyway. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come here today. Thank you for all your comments. No super chats, no memberships today. That's all right, but it's not always about that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you found it informative. What did you guys think of some of the stories we covered today? We talked about Haiti. We talked about Ukraine. The American journalist still locked up. What's happening in Sudan? The history of South Africa, and about asylum seekers going from the UK to Ireland. Let me know what you guys think about all these stories and more. Share them in the comment section down below. I will catch you guys over in Max's live stream in just a bit, guys. So if you're not going over to Max's live stream, just want to say enjoy your weekends. No premiere videos are dropping over the weekend, guys. It was a bit too much. I was burning myself out doing that kind of stuff. So, but there will be a video dropping at 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to see another video, you can always check that out. I'll be dropping in the evening as well. So you got some extra content for you guys on the weekend. So you won't be entirely bored. But also you can also join me and the rest of the normal gang on the Discord server tomorrow on Saturday night. We'll be doing a games night. It's been a few weeks since I've been there for the Discord, but I will be there tomorrow night. So feel free to come and hang out with us there. Also, make sure you check out the Facebook page that I've set up. The link is in the description. It's been shared a few times by my moderators. So thank you guys, moderators, as always, for your support. And yeah, I will be back on Monday with another episode of the Snowflake's Viewpoint. But until then, guys, there's just one thing I need you lot to do before you run away. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.
you.